Hey, I find it really weird that I'm filming this in the middle of the night, but I feel it feels important. So I want to talk about trust and about any qualities that feel like you should have them, but they're not quite there yet. And I want to say that I have gone through a few qualities, and trust for one is you know, there's this moment that I feel like you will hear about a quality and hear about how good it would be to supplement yourself with that kind of good quality. And it just seems like another thing on your to-do list. So it takes a while for things to settle in. And trust is now one of them that is becoming more and more of my energy signature. It's there's a there's a ways to go, but I have experienced it before with the energy of moving from a lot of self-criticism to acceptance. That's been a journey of, I would say, about 6 years now. And I've been noticing inside of my own mind complex and the emotional like system. I'm saying these words, but I just mean like the inner world, and hearing myself speak to myself, that it does it does get better. Like if you have the intention and not like forcing yourself, because okay, so maybe you'll recognize this. I had come from a background that has a lot of forceful language, very strong opinions. And then I would hear it also in my mind. Like the self criticism was so harsh. I don't think I could even have handled like the actual volume of what was being criticized in my head. Like, I started hearing it when it was like just very harsh and always present, and anything I did, I could feel like, oh, I'm not doing it right, and I could understand if you don't literally hear thoughts, but that you just have this feeling like I'm doing something wrong. So, uh, at the beginning, when I knew that I was self-criticizing, it didn't seem like something that could go away. And for sure, I was like in my teens when I realized it, and uh, it was around the time that I was 38 when I started noticing some shifts. And it went in very small steps, but I could at some point really notice it, that that the volume or the just the harshness of the criticism would have become less, and then maybe I have this metaphor of like walking up these stairs and it being super tough to just keep on walking up these stairs. But at some point, I would get to a level and be like, oh, I can stay here at this level. And I'm just noticing that that I don't have to work so hard at it anymore. And what I wanted to say about all of this also is that there comes a moment, and it's really, really nice if you can have this at the beginning, that there's a kind of remembering instead of it being on the list of things that I need to become better at, or that I need to change about myself, because that change is like, it's very abrupt. it's like a big thing. It's like I don't feel like I'm there. And then if it's remembering, that's more like, there's something about that quality, like of being loving to myself. There's something about that quality that I know, but it's very far away in my memory. And you might not think of it as memory, but I mean remembering as that it's part of remembering what the truth is about who you are and what is right about life. For me, in any case, I can always remember or sense into these very, very positive qualities that that indeed should be part of life, and that somehow I do remember it, especially when I wish it upon other people. That, you know, if I see people suffering or things like that, and I start to actually create in my head, like, how could I help them? What would be helpful kind of experience for this person to have? Like, I wish they were loved. I wish they felt safe. You know, a lot of us empathic or empathetic people to have this way of understanding what would be really wonderful for a person to feel more whole, to feel healed, and uh, and that, I think, is a kind of remembering of what wholeness is. um, yeah, this morning I really wanted to speak to those things, um, because I'm going through quite a big change that is actually going just little by little steps, and I have talked about it before, which is about codependence. And I'm moving so slowly through it. And honestly, just I must be at the very start. Like, I must be only like 2 baby steps into the change of this. And codependence, I see it as this very heavy, complex way of uh, not being able to feel safe enough to have boundaries, and that it kind of happens really automatically. Like, it must have been something that happened very early on in childhood, that created the whole system of the psyche and the body, uh, that relates safety to if the other person is safe, or is it could be something that doesn't seem safe to other people, but to you or to the person themselves, they might have experienced such danger that anything better than that is registered as safe. Yeah, I don't want to really give an example. I think it's probably understandable, just the in theory. So a person might register. Uh, no, I am going to give an example, but I just didn't want to give an example of like the traumatic aspect of it. Um, but yeah, like having grown up in an atmosphere where people are not really giving you attention, not really taking care of you, this I can speak to. Because the more dangerous situation might be someone acting with violence towards you. So being ignored is then the much safer situation. And I think really a lot of people feel this one, like, How come people just don't listen to me when I speak up, when I try to make myself heard? Sometimes, it's not always, but sometimes it can come from just a lot of heavy patterning and conditioning around trying to keep the self safe by being invisible. Yeah, so that you don't get that attention that is so dangerous. So, where do I want to go with this is that being only 2 steps into coming out of my own situations of codependency, I'm just realizing just how deep it is. It's so deep. Imagine if it's totally like programmed into your psyche and your body and your emotional system that even if you're in a situation where no one's asking or you to be anything, like it's not really a tense situation, but already like your whole system is acting in ways that is like, well, just in case, I want to make sure that this other person that I'm here with feels safe. Can you imagine the disruption of a healthy social environment for these two people that one act is? The thing that I have been noticing in the last 6 months since I made these steps to come out of the place where I was, mentally, emotionally, and psychologically, is so it's been really a change. I've been not avoiding conflict and really working myself through difficult situations to stand up better for boundaries and to actually communicate better where I'm at, so that the other person has a lot more to to figure out how I'm doing, instead of like this codependent way of like, as long as you're okay, as long as you feel safe, and just very insidiously trying to make the other person feel good, even though they don't need you to do that. Because now this other person doesn't even know who you are. They are like in this bubble of a reflection of themselves. And maybe they don't even know that that's what you're doing. Like, maybe they don't understand that you're being this mirror to make them feel good. So it's very hard from that situation to go to start now being true to yourself and like expressing actually what your needs are, especially when something goes wrong and you've sort of gathered all the people around that are actually really liking the fact that you're making them feel good. So that would be a bad situation, and then it's very hard to change because it would mean that possibly losing friends and acquaintances, which I think is the hardest thing about developing yourself, because we do all need support and we need people that reflect back to us. So, coming back to how deep this goes and how difficult it actually is to move out of codependency, is one thing I've noticed the huge difference after. If you can be conscious of what you're doing, if you're conscious that you're pleasing, if you're conscious that you're the codependent person, that is allowing other people to cross their boundaries. So this is already a huge step, right? To acknowledge this. Then I actually noticed that a lot of people just stay there and they just acknowledge, and then they don't move, they don't take the next step. So this world this world is about actions. If you become aware of something and then don't take action, I hope this is not going to scare people, but you things happen if you don't take action. And in the sphere of codependency, and I could be wrong. This is just my perspective. This is what I'm seeing as I'm learning these things, is that I have lots of friends and lots of people that I know, and also when I look online and people who react to my videos, that have this opinion that people need to be kind. I agree. There's kindness. That's important. It's important to care for others and to show them that you care for them, because it just makes a very warm atmosphere, and it will probably make the world feel more safe. Everyone feel more safe. But there's another thing that goes beyond that kind of care. And then it's like, if you're codependent and you've noticed that you're pleasing, I'm just going to say it, okay? You've noticed that you're pleasing, then you don't actually take action and start confronting, like actually being in conflicts that need to happen, actually start acting and making sure that you're not letting people cross your boundaries, but also finding ways to just be positively taking up space that you are allowed to take up, and knowing that you should take up that space, because if you're just letting other people, walk all over you, you're creating a very bad situation, not only for yourself, but also for other people. Maybe they're less conscious of it, maybe they are conscious of it. In each case, you are responsible for the space that you should be, um, like being in. It's your responsibility. I think to the cosmos, this is like a law. Once you are like adult enough to be conscious enough to know this, and especially if you have understood that this is the case, now you have to take action. When you don't, you will get a psychological feedback loop that now you're going to start telling yourself excuses why the world is the way that it is, and why. I'll give you an example. You could start to feel like a victim and say it's other people's fault. They're being bad people and they're crossing your boundaries. This only goes for, I think, personal situations that you actually have power and agency over. It doesn't work for like things that are really far away from you. Although I think that when you develop yourself to higher vibrations, you would find out that you actually do have power over those as well, but it's like more of a consensus reality. I don't know. I know I'm getting off track, so I'll get back to this whole situation. So I am noticing in my environment with some friends and online that there's ways in which people judge the world, that there are bad people, but they don't actually face their own boundaries. They don't stand up for themselves, even when, in actual fact, they have the power to do that. So I know for a lot of people this could feel a little harsh. In the people that call themselves empaths or empathetic, it's true. We could be really sensitive and unknowingly letting other people use our energy and cross our boundaries. But then I'm telling you, once you know, you're not supposed to take shit from people. And you're supposed to learn to stand up for yourself. And when you do, the empathy that you have, this is my experience, it grows. And you start to be able to inspire others, especially if you're a 1-3 profile in human design, which I am. And I spoke to my friend who is also a 1-3 profile, and I noticed that we are the kind of people who have the courage or have it in them to really face a lot of conflict and a lot of challenges. So if you're a 1-3 and you're not doing this and not facing challenges, like literally you're supposed to be doing that. And I'm not saying do random like crazy shit, you know, use your discernment, but you will know, like the 1-3 profile. Sorry, I'm just gonna go on a tangent about 1-3, is that a 1 line is the kind of person that is always curious about everything and like will be a researcher all their lives. And maybe other people don't understand that and are not really interested in your all the facts and stuff that you know and are doing, because it might be a little much for them. But the 3 aspect is what people do need, is what you do need to represent in the collective, and showing all the things that you've experimented and figured out. Okay, I'm gonna let go of that tangent. I'm thinking about starting a community of people who are interested in this, and like because it's life becomes so fun when you realize who you are and that you get to use the instrument of your persona to the fullest, and that will actually bring you the most epic, joyful, juicy life. So anyway, ask me about it if that like tickled your fantasy. I do have to kind of figure out what I wanted to say. Oh gosh. Yeah, it was a good one. What do you do with that? Where do you go with that? Yeah. So I'm just sitting here in front of my altar. I've got a nice candle burning. It's super late at night. I'm just really grateful for the whole process that I'm going through, and it's been like at the edge of what I feel that I'm capable of. I'm just rambling because I need to figure out what it was that I wanted to say. Oh yeah, bless my friends, but all of the empathy and that I also see now in other people, there's a way that we keep ourselves stuck at that level of saying like everyone needs to be kind, and like not facing the bullshit that you're not like you're not honoring your own boundaries, and you're not. So how would you do that? Be very sensitive about what you're actually feeling. Start to get to know what you're actually feeling. And it's okay that you don't know straight away how to tell people this is my boundary. There's a way in which you can have also positive boundaries, which is like you don't have to tell people to stop and don't cross my boundary. A positive boundary could be like just you knowing what you prefer, you having more and more understanding of who you are, which means that your aura expands and other people can naturally feel what is and what wouldn't be okay with you. You really can like attract people who or situations that would take advantage of you if uh, if you're really like don't want to or are not protecting your boundaries and you're like yeah um, so if that's happening to you, like have a look, you know, is there some way? And I don't know, I gotta tell you, like positive boundaries are something really nice because if you flesh out your personality and the things that you would specifically be good at, the 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 specific piece of the puzzle and the place in the web of life that you are made perfectly for, and you start living that and overcoming whatever is standing in your way, like it's a journey, right? It's a journey. It's not like now I know, now I must do it, and I will be perfect at it. Like that's not how life works. It's supposed to be an incredible journey. Um, but these are like this is a way that you know who you are, you flesh out what your personality is, and then you can start living it. And then that's like a positive boundaries because people are less likely to want to cross your boundaries unless you're just being tested to see, are you really being that person? Are you really ready for this like up level? Um, you know, and then you might have to assert yourself and be like, yeah, I really am this. And you might not feel ready, but it's in the action and just like trying uh, and like trying to feel into it, like how good would it feel? You can use, so many methods for that, but taking action and doing it no matter what, even if it's a little messy, even if it's a lot messy, you will have more experience and you will be further than you were if you didn't do it. So this is a positive boundary of you knowing your identity and expanding it outwards, and then naturally people will not be as much crossing your boundaries. Unless, you're saying yes to everything when you actually mean no. So, yeah, you're becoming aware of your feelings, then you're understanding how to navigate your own emotions, and then you're expressing to people if they are actually crossing your boundaries, or you are expressing to people if you know what your preference is, then you can let them know. It sounds so obvious, but if you're a codependent, you might not be doing any of those things. Okay, and then the last thing is that you would have consequences. To if people keep crossing your boundary, you have consequences that are logical. Like you tell a person, "Hey, that thing that you were doing, I can sense that you didn't really notice. So maybe you didn't notice that you hurt my feelings when you said this thing in this way, and it didn't make me feel good. So please don't do that, or please be aware of that. And if they do it again, you can say, well, that thing that I said the other time, it happened again, and I really don't like it, and please stop doing that. And if they did it a third time, you're like, look, if you know they're just going to continue, then put the consequence in place as soon as you want. make sure that they cannot hurt you again, which means remove yourself from the situation or change something about the situation so that you're not getting hurt in that way. Of course, you have to be reflective, like, what is this, where is this coming from? But if you start like understanding that people are just crossing your boundaries and not respecting you, then you have to show them that there are consequences. So you might leave the situation. You might say, you know, the second time that it happens, if you do that again, I'm going to leave. And then if they did it again, you leave. You have to hold the consequence. A lot of people who cross boundaries and are used to people not holding them accountable, they will start to understand when you show them consequences. So removing yourself from a situation, removing yourself from a conversation, like you might change the subject in a conversation and just keep doing it every time that someone, you know, tries this or that. And for some people, that's the only thing that works. And if it's someone that you need to have in your life, that's maybe a way of coping. And of course, for people that you don't need in your life and they disrespect you, you can make more loving choices. Isn't that awesome? Sometimes I think that we take life as this, oh, you know, as long as I get by. And we don't realize just, yes, I remembered. Oh my God, I remembered. Okay, guys, this is a big one. All right, so there's something that I'm going through right now that relates to this. You might not have any model for the thing that you're learning. So maybe it's like boundaries, like for me, that's really a thing. And maybe I'm realizing that neither of my parents and neither of anyone of my family that I know has ever set healthy boundaries. Maybe they were very harsh, maybe they were very loose, maybe they were very emotional, maybe they were just completely withdrawn or freeze, very fearful. So all of those would not be very healthy or good ways of asserting a boundary. Being assertive, just giving the other person space, you know, making friends, giving other people space to also do their thing and to still be responsive about your own boundaries. Like, oh, I didn't like that, so I would like to have that different, or I'm going to see how it goes next time. I'm just saying, like, life completely changes when you are actually able to voice your boundaries. Life starts becoming something that you are involved in shaping. Like, very literally, you say no, you say yes. You say no to things you don't like, and they pass you by. They don't come right at you. Can you I think everyone who is codependent can see like a bad situation coming at them, and you start getting nervous and you start finding coping mechanisms. Now imagine if you are now starting to realize this situation does, I don't have to be in this situation, and when I choose to not be in this situation, my life changes. Like, everything in my life up levels. Can you imagine that kind of power? Can you imagine how hopeful you would become about life? Like, okay, things might be hard, but this life is hard. It's not an easy place to be, this earth. But things can change. If I face my fears, I will actually get a hugely different outcome and life. I will love life more. I will enjoy life more. If you're an empath and you're sensitive and you are able to, like, feel life, can you imagine when life gets better and better and better and better and better, how expansive your energy would be? Do you know what that would do for the collective? You to be blissfully, outrageously happy? I'm sorry, I am kind of going, like, I'm getting, like, overboard, like, but do you understand the power of the depth of your feelings and that they would be positive? Can you imagine the impact that would have? My friend, that is why you are here. If any of what I said interested you and you feel like, this is why you're here. You have the right to an outrageously beautiful, fulfilling life. The thing about this earth plane is you came to act, to learn, to take action, to do the difficult things. And the thing that I want to tell you is that you might be the first one in your line of your ancestors, on your father's side, on your mother's side, or all whoever your ancestors are. You might actually be the first one who has enough freedom, who has enough opportunity to do this work, to change the pattern, to break free. And I'm not telling you that you must succeed. I'm telling you that every little try that you make will be a change in the whole cascading line of ancestors. It will reverberate back. And you're not here to like work for your ancestors. You are your ancestors. You carry the DNA that survived. Yeah? You are your ancestors' like dream of the future. You are living the freedom that they hoped to have one day. And you listening to this and all the other wisdoms of remembering of what our potential and possibilities is, we are in a very strange but incredibly like quantum jump time. I don't know how to say it. Like, we are in a flowering time, and we really are able to do things that people in the past could not do. They might have been killed for that. I know in the world that, and someone might be watching this and being in that situation. I'm so sorry. And we all need to, all those people who have possibility to break free of things that were so we're so violent to the human body and the human psyche and to children that we know of. And I'm talking to 1-3s, profile 1-3, human design profile 1-3, and talking to you especially. I'm sorry, I'm going to pick at you. It might just be us that are able to break the pattern. And that means that it's hard and no one's shown you how to do it, but you can listen to people who are trying to do it and just feel like you're not the only one doing the really hard thing, that you're watching yourself and trying to figure out how can I best do this? When you find yourself in a situation that's like, oh my God, this is so hard, how do I do this? Take that pressure if you can, okay? If you can. If you have, breathe, love yourself, know that you are supported, know that you don't have to face anything alone. I'm here, put a comment there and and let us know what you're going through. But also in spirit world, you have so much support. You don't have to do it alone. Ask for help, pray, ask for other people to pray for you, and you know, watch yourself, watch your ego. Don't beat yourself down, but know that you are on an epic human journey, and that your heart that is trying to do it the best it can. Always try to act in alignment. When possible, don't wait for the worst case scenario to happen to you. Don't let life put you in a corner. If you see a bad thing coming your way, you know, start preparing yourself. Start figuring out, like, what can I do about this? You know, start feeling into it. Start remembering what the best case scenario would be. And and have a lot of respect for yourself while you do the hard things, and you know, trying to walk a righteous just path without you know, calcifying yourself, without solidifying into any one opinion, except if it's helpful for you in that situation. And you're always allowed to change your opinion later, because you're gonna learn so much. And it's okay, and that's why we have compassion for people who are at a place that we were before. And, you know, you only know as much as you know. And we let each other know, and we share the data with each other of how we did it, and what we found out. And that's what 1-3s do. The 1-3 line. The 3, anyone who has a 6 line will also, in the first part of their life, have it be a 3, and you know, for a really long time, until you are able to really harvest all of your life experience into a really like essential teaching for the rest of humanity. But until then, you are like a sucker for bad luck. But I'm gonna tell you, like, the 3 has humor. The 3 has is able to move through the hardest things. And just know that if you are a 3 line or a 6 line, man, you have this. You've got this. Even if it's hard, you are like the pioneer. You really are. So don't worry, you know, if you find things really hard, like literally no one else can do it. You know, or other 3 lines, and you know, have those people around to remind you that we can do this. And when you fall down, as is, you know, our speciality, all 3 lines know very well how to make mistakes and make it messy and fall down, and what we're super good at is getting back up again. Like, no one does it like we do. No one does it with so much humor. I'm sorry, it is so bittersweet. But know that all those things that we are able to develop, don't be afraid of being messy. That is what a human being is. Like, sometimes we just go like, oh my God, what did I do? And like, half of the time or 80% of the time that I'm making these videos, that's what I feel. But I'm also like, fuck it. Fuck it. I have been through so much that I wish I had told other people, so that they could like even get an inch further from where they are and feel like, look at me. Do I look like I'm perfect, or like I'm great at the things? Yes, sometimes. Yeah, I'll wear that. I'll wear it. Like, yeah, I'm proud of myself. But it's, yeah, I'm 43, so it's been super many years of also feeling like I wasn't managing, and I was failing, and that I wouldn't make anyone proud, and now looking back, it's like, shit, there was so much to be proud of, but I didn't have the mindsets or the kindness to myself. I really had to, yeah, I think I am living the dream of my parents and my ancestors. To be so kind to myself. I know there have been some before, but to be so genuinely supportive of myself. To dare to post this video. I want to send you love and bless you forever on your path and bless your ancestors. And let's all keep blessing each other, because this is a hard life. Anyone who's able to smile on a day and say, you know, thank you, thank you. Yeah, that's bless. That's bless. So, yeah, so much love to you, and thank you so much for watching this. And I hope that your heart is softened, especially for yourself. And yeah, yeah, you're so precious. We need you. All right? Okay, peace.